Ren and Stimpy Adult Party Cancer. Now, this is going to be really tough. This episode is called Altruists, and Altruists is 40 minutes long. Whew. God dang it. Why did I do this? I got my fingers crossed that it may be the longest episode, but there's potential. There may be something interesting or entertaining or creative. Or is it going to be even worse than the ones we've already watched? I don't know. I like how the title credits are semi-tasteful. You just have a title card screen that is it's very reminiscent to the Three Stooges shorts. And I will say that John K. has said before about how the Three Stooges has had a big emphasis on Ren and Stimpy. I think the Three Stooges are hilarious. They're great. I mean, this is groundbreaking comedy. If you're not familiar with the Stooges, what the hell are you doing, dude? You need to educate yourself, enrich your life. The Three Stooges are fantastic. It's really awful that the Three Stooges are associating with Ren and Stimpy in John K's mind, because the original Ren and Stimpy, I could get it, because on the old Ren and Stimpy show, not only did they have different jobs in every episode, you know, very much like the Stooges. You know, one episode the Stooges are plumbers, one episode the Stooges open up a barbershop. You know, that's great. That's great. But the most important thing, again, is that it was funny. Classic Ren and Stimpy, it's funny. Three Stooges, funny. This, not funny. On with the episode. So the episode opens up with Ren just being mean to Stimpy for no reason whatsoever. You may recall, if you've seen any old episodes of Ren and Stimpy, that Ren would usually only hit Stimpy because he was mad or because Stimpy did something that really pissed him off. And on this show, Ren just hit Stimpy because he's sadistic. And I don't think that is a good trait for a character on a show that we have to spend 40 minutes watching. Anyway, they hear a woman crying in the distance, and they go to see what she's got going on. And this woman is crying because she lost her house. She got evicted. Her husband is dead. She has a son who has a disability, and the disability is that he has no head. That kind of reminds me of maybe season 3 or 4 Ren and Stimpy from the Nickelodeon days. It's like it's almost funny. I don't know. Not that funny. It didn't make me laugh, I can tell you that. So, for some reason, on this episode, Ren and Stimpy decide that they are going to help this woman and her son, and especially Ren, who is always like a womanizer and just wants money and stuff. For some reason in this episode, he just wants to be a nice person. Again, for no reason. Good writing. So they have burglar outfits. They go to steal some stuff out of a house, and apparently this house, they have a sign out front that says they have like a guard duck, and it's a green duck that obviously, I guess, is supposed to look like Plucky Duck from Tiny Toons. And let me just offer a word of advice to anybody who's making a show or a movie. If you're going to make, for instance, a comedy show that's a cartoon, you shouldn't reference a cartoon that's way funnier than yours and way better. Because when I see Plucky Duck on your show, I can think of numerous Tiny Toons episodes that are actually still funny today. So, yeah, you probably don't need to be doing that. It's not the best idea. Ren and Stimpy decide they're going to break into this house, and I guess they're going to steal money to give to the woman now. Before they do, Stimpy notices that Ren has a blackjack, and he tells Stimpy what it is because Stimpy doesn't know what a blackjack is. And for some reason, Stimpy wants to lick it. And this part is almost kind of funny because he's holding it out and Stimpy's tongue comes out to lick the blackjack, right? And it's funny because the tongue like grows a face and just goes like, and starts rubbing itself all over the blackjack. And I don't know, that actually kind of made me smile a little bit, because it was just, I don't know, it was so silly and bizarre that I was like, yeah, see guys, it doesn't have to be, you know, gross stuff all the time. It can just be silly, and that can be funny. Yeah, it's okay. The next thing that happens is Stimpy is dressed up like a duck, and he is supposed to be tricking the male duck. And dude, they have this disgusting scene where him and the male duck, like, they make out for like a really long time, and Stimpy keeps popping out eggs for some reason, but all these eggs keep popping out, and they're like half cat, half duck in different ways, you know, and just, I'm not even gonna get into it because it's not funny. Ren pops out right then, hits the duck in the head. The duck goes down. He gets a big lump, and the lump just extends all the way up to a window. And Ren starts climbing up the duck's head lump to get up to the window to break in. While that's happening, two little kids in the house see Stimpy, and they say, dude, it's Ren and Stimpy. They're here to rob us. How awesome. And they stick their heads out the window smiling, and Stimpy clubs both of them in the head. And then they look happy to be hit by Stimpy for some reason. And Ren, he tells Stimpy to come on up. And Stimpy is grinding on this phallic, flesh-shaped, hairy pole that goes all the way up to the window. And again, it's really drawn out. The show is disgusting, man. Okay, so Ren and Stimpy are in the house next, and they're stealing the money out of a safe. And then they have a moment where they discuss whether or not they should be doing it. And then they have a fourth wall break where Ren says, I'm sure these people are just sitting around watching TV being stupid or something. And then the two people that live there are watching Ren and Stimpy on TV. And they comment about how the writers probably get paid like way too much to do this. And I'll tell you, that's a good joke in a sense, because at least they're self-aware. But I will say this also, self-aware does not make it okay. Like when you tell a bad joke and then you say how bad the joke is, like I still didn't laugh, right? There is one part that happens right after this that I did laugh at, where Stimpy is told by Ren to explore the rest of the house. And he opens a door, and when he opens that door, there is a giant duckbill just in there. And it sees Stimpy, and it starts yelling at him. And there's a little duckbill with a girl's voice, and it's got a little string on the back of it. So it's like, it's a fake costume duckbill. And he's like saying, you just strap my daughter on and leave her and stuff like that. And that's like, okay, I get it. It's kind of doing like an allegorical thing, but it actually was kind of funny because of how surreal and weird it was. And I'm like, yes, damn it. That's what Ren and Stimpy's supposed to have, is the weird surreal crap. Like, it doesn't have to be disgusting adult content. It can just be weird, and that can be fun. Right after that happens, Stimpy shuts the door, and Ren goes, what's in there? And Stimpy's like, nothing. And Ren, this actually caught me off guard for once. The switcheroo actually worked, where Ren goes, you don't have a duck bill in there or something, do you? And I was like, hey, that's cool. I didn't expect Ren to guess what was going to be in there. So that was okay. A second thing. So this is the longest episode, but it's actually gotten two moments that I give a thumbs up to that actually feels kind of like Ren and Stimpy. So I love the duck bill joke. That's funny. And the thing that sucks is immediately, like within seconds of this section, for some reason Stimpy is just split into two pieces, and Ren says, pull yourself together. And that makes no sense, because there was no reason for him to be split together, and there was no setup for that. See, with the duck bill joke, there was a setup for that. There was no setup for Ren or for Stimpy to be split in half. And it feels like it's another one of those like sad, desperate attempts to remind us of something from the original show. Because in Marooned, when Stimpy splits like in half from the weird, what do you call it? The weird physics of that planet they got stuck on, he splits into two pieces. and his upper half is just floating around. And there is a part where Ren says, "Pull yourself together, misters," and it's interesting and funny. Anyway, it's just pathetic because it's just trying to do a callback to something that's actually good, which is definitely not this. Okay, so they climb back down into the yard, and the duck is still laying out there, passed out, and Ren says, "You should deal with the duck so he doesn't wake up and alert the people who live there that I guess they're being robbed." And Stimpy beats the duck to death, and his eyes, you know, they're X out, so he's dead. So they just killed him. They get back to the lady, and they give her this big sack of money and all this food that apparently they stole that I didn't see them steal. And this is the third thing that actually I liked in this episode. And I know it sounds insane, but I really like this. She sees the cheese, and for some reason she just like snaps, and she's like, "Give me the cheese." And it's great because Stimpy hands her the cheese, right? And then she gets pissed off because it was the wrong kind of cheese. And I forget what it was. It was like Limburger or something. She's like, "Not Limburger." And her face gets all crazy. And she's like barking like a dog. And I'm like, yeah, damn it. Yes. Can't y'all just keep doing this? This is what I'm talking about. Get wacky, man. Then I think Ren, he like shoves the cheese just down her throat just to shut her up. And you know, it's crazy because, I mean, I think this episode has gone on for damn near like 20 minutes now, and they have found 3 things that I did like, and that's not nearly enough crap to keep me wanting to watch this for 20 minutes, but it's better than nothing, which the previous episodes have literally had nothing that I liked that I can recall. Unfortunately, it doesn't take too long before the show gets disgusting and makes me feel bad for watching it again, because the old man who you definitely will remember from old Ren and Stimpy episodes, I remember he played Old Man Hunger in one. I think it was in Big House Blues, and he had like a chicken leg like sitting on the back of his head. And I guess that's because he's Old Man Hungry, has a little chicken bone on the back of his head. And anyway, in this episode, he looks just like that, except he is covered in frost, and he is blowing into the yard, and it blows on the woman. And this is so disgusting that I have to say this, but it makes her nipples like point out, and they get up out of her shirt, and they start talking to each other. And this is all disgusting. It basically, long story short, she doesn't have a house to live in, so they're going to build her a house now. And they steal a lumber truck, probably one of the most infamous things about this show, which is the sequence where Stimpy has a log across his back, and Ren straps a saw to his crotch. Again, it's another one of them things where it's so ham-fisted, just beating you in the head with the suggestiveness that it's like, yeah, we get it. When you're making it this freaking ham-fisted, it's even less funny than it was in the first place, which is not funny at all. But it's really gross. It goes on for too long. Just all the noises and facial expressions are just sick. It's just the same kind of joke. They just use it over and over. It's terrible. This time, I think the worst part is they drag it out for like an extremely long time. Anyway, so Stimpy's got the sawdust on his back when they get done, and Ren's like, "Clean that shit up." And it's so weird hearing Ren say shit. It's such a weird, awkward feeling. I seriously, when I watch this show, I don't feel like I'm watching Ren and Stimpy. I feel like I'm watching like the weird pod people that have taken Ren and Stimpy's form, and they have no idea what Ren and Stimpy behave like. It's really what it feels like. So anyway, next section of this garbage ass episode is Stimpy's on the roof with the woman's son, actually, and they are working on the roof of the house now. Inexplicably, Stimpy is speaking with a stereotype Italian accent.
I gotta stretch my lumbago.
And he is sunburnt. He has his fur peeled down, and he catcalls and hollers at some shirtless man at another house, and I guess that's supposed to be funny again, that he's gay, and that's just the joke, I guess. It just really doesn't, I don't get it. There's a sequence like right after that where Ren is yelling at Stimpy from under the house through the plumbing, and Stimpy hears the voice but doesn't see Ren, so he thinks it's a ghost, and that gets drugged out for way too long. It's just horrible. Finally, we get to the point where they show the lady her new house, and they're showing her everything that they have in the house, and this goes on forever. And they're like, look, it's a new refrigerator. And then some guy whispers the price, like $2,000. And it's like, okay, why are y'all keep doing this? You keep saying like what it is and how much it costs. And then I think the third one, it's like the most obvious thing where they say second, they go, grandfather clock, $2,000. And then they're like, grandfather, of course. And then they're like, priceless. And I mean, these jokes suck so much ass. Like, these jokes are like, they have to be jokes that people used hundreds of years ago. At least in the 30s, I could see this joke being like literally told in like a Charlie Chaplin movie. Oh, I hate the writing on this show. It's so bad. Anyway, the woman says, oh, I got to point out that they said they got her a brand new wardrobe from Fredericks of Hollywood. And I don't know if you know what Fredericks of Hollywood is, but when I was a kid, I stumbled on a Fredericks of Hollywood catalog, and I don't even remember where or who it belonged to. If you don't know what Fredericks of Hollywood is, if you are 18 and up, you should be aware. Maybe you don't really need to be aware, but don't even try to look it up if you're not at least 18, because it is not for children. God, I just feel like I'm gonna seriously need therapy after doing this video. It's the worst. Okay, so the woman starts crying because she feels bad because she has no way to repay Ren and Stimpy, and instead of Ren being the scumbag that he normally is, he just says, you know, that's fine. They're fine with it. You don't have to pay us back. And when they get ready to leave, a cop confronts them, and the cop, of course, he's got an Irish accent. And, you know, honestly, I mean, would you expect anything less from this garbage-ass writing? The cop says, look, we know you're the guys that stole all this stuff. And the woman says, look, officer, I lost everything. And these guys, they're not stealing this for them. They stole it for me. And the cop feels bad, and he thinks it's great that they helped her. Then the woman says, but my son still didn't have a head. And he says apparently he had a son who was born only a head. So he takes a head out of his pocket, and it's a little tiny head, and he puts it on the body's neck. And now the body has a head. Oh my God. What the hell is this show? What is this show even? Okay, so Ren and Stimpy are free now. The cop just lets them go, and the cop keeps looking at the woman, describing her body and how much he likes it, and he starts groping her aggressively, and she is very happy about this. And then Ren and Stimpy are in another room in the house, and inexplicably a rocket just comes through the window, catches them, and takes them out into space. And that's the end of the episode. I'm dead serious. So there were a couple things. I think I counted 3. There were 3 things in that episode that were actually something that made me not disgusted or bored or angry that I was watching this show. A 40-minute episode. So I'm going to go ahead and say it was not worth the 40 minutes for those 3 things that I did not hate completely with every fiber of my being. Let's get on to the next episode. Last one.